Hello, everyone. It's Sun Types, joined by Uncommon Fossil. We are the Reasonably Effective podcast. This is episode 29, and today we're going to be winning the World Championships.
At least one of us will, not both.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. So, yeah, what we're going to be doing is drafting decks that we think are going to win the World Championships. So, if you don't know, the World Championships are coming up in like a week of recording this, I think.
I think it starts, the 10th or the 11th of August.
Okay.
I think.
I don't really know. So that's coming up, and we're going to be drafting decks. We're going to draft 10 decks each. These are based off of the decks that are presented on Play Limitless. So, yeah, that's pretty much what we're choosing from. And, this is going to be the top, I believe it's top 8 is what's shown, and then the Masters division.
Well, they'll show more than that, but yes, they'll.
Yeah.
But we're just doing Masters, and we're going to base our points based on top 8, right?
Yeah, so it'll be 1 for
8th and then up to 8 if it's the first place deck, right? And we'll just.
Well, yeah, and it's 1 for 5th through 8th, right? It's not.
Oh, that's right. We're saying, so 8 for first, and then 6 for second?
Wouldn't it be 4 for second?
4, okay.
And then 2 for third and fourth, and then just 1 if they're in the rest of the top 8.
1, 5, 3. Okay. Yep, sounds good.
And then, so I'm going to roll a die to see who goes first.
All right, I'm not watching you, so no cheating.
Yeah, and I'll be even, I guess.
No, I call it if you're doing it, right?
Oh, you call it. What do you want to call?
Heads.
Which is even, okay.
Yes, but come on. You say heads and tails.
Heads, yeah. Okay, I won. Let's go. What, do you hear that?
I did not hear it, but...
Okay.
So,
did you hear that?
I did hear something.
There we go, here.
So,
did you hear that?
Yeah,
we
but...
just need to keep banging to like...
I think we can move on with it. I'm not really sure it's getting recorded, so it's not helpful.
Okay.
So you won the coin toss.
Yeah, so I'll choose first. I don't know.
I think you have to. I think you may have to go first, but we didn't actually set that.
We didn't really set any rules.
No.
Okay, so I'll choose my first deck. So we're looking at Play Limitless, and I'm going to choose one of the top decks here in terms of played.
Mm-hmm.
The top deck here that's over 50%, which is Lost Zone Box, which is pretty much Lost Zone with Radiant Greninja, and not Giratina or Gudra. So, yeah, I'm going to choose that.
Right, Lost Zone, so not Giratina, not Gudra, and not Charizard, right?
Yeah, not Charizard. I don't know if it has to play Radiant. I guess it doesn't have to play Radiant Greninja, but it doesn't count if it plays Charizard.
Right, because that's a different deck, and those are really the 4 Lost Zone decks, I think, on Play Limitless.
Yeah, but luckily this one covers a lot of them, so that's why I chose this one.
It does. Now, one of the complications is the classify. You're looking. I'm not looking at Limitless right now, but you're looking, I think, on the online decks.
Yeah, Play Limitless,
and they classify them slightly differently than the IRL. So we'll have to.
Yeah, so IRL, if I go to regular Limitless, they pretty much make up. So we're doing split into variants, right? So
yes.
In regular Limitless, it's combined. But then if you split into variants, pretty much any time someone plays a different deck, they'll make a new category for it.
It's too many different.
There are they're actually less ones, but that's because they're less, significantly less tournaments.
Right, and they only record, I think, the decks that get points too. I believe.
I think they just do random stuff for different tournaments, as far as I know.
That could be too.
It just it doesn't. It's whatever.
All right, so
anyway, so what? Yeah, what do you choose?
Going with Lost Zone, and one of the things I'm looking at Trainer Hill here. If you're looking at my web feed and my YouTube, but if you're not, Trainer Hill's a really good resource. One of the things they do is you can look at the matchups, and they kind of list out the most played decks. I think they get it from Play Limitless, is where the data's from.
Yeah, it's from Play Limitless.
So you can see how decks win rate against other decks are. So, and I'm kind of looking at the top, and I have 8 decks I think are the most played, which are my first set of choices. I want to see how they do matched up against one another. And when I look at those top choices, the deck that has a winning is a positive win rate against essentially every other deck is Giratina Lost Zone. So that's my number 1 deck. If you look, I made a video before on it too. I think that is best positioned. Right now, the numbers have gotten slightly worse since the last few days, but the lowest win rate is up against Single Strike Lugia at 47.5. And it goes up to almost 70%. So it's got a positive win rate against almost all the top decks. So I really like it.
Okay. Wait, what's Arceus Giratina
What's our
bad against? Oh, you have different lists. I just pulled up the one, and the one that has I think the highest win rate's Arceus Giratina. Actually, no, it's sorted by alphabetical. But
Well, yeah, on Play Limit, it shows the overall win rate for the deck, right? Now, when I do it, also you can select in Trainer Hill like how up against what I'm looking at the top performing decks. I want to ignore
uh,
the data of the people that don't do well because that kind of skews things to me.
yeah.
But you
Eh,
skew things different ways. So they sort the data differently. So they're actually, if you ever want to get into it, Limitless has some good stuff, and as well as matchups. Trainer Hill has good stuff also, and you can do different things with them.
yeah. Trainer Hill is like beefy. It's also slow. I don't know
It
if
can
beefy, so
be.
it does like a lot of stuff. It can be like slow.
Yes.
Anyway, so I'm gonna go with let's see. So I don't have like I have a list, but I'm not sure how. I'll go with my number 2 deck, which will be Arceus Umbreon. I think that's um it's a very good deck. It's like the general Arceus deck, pretty much. Most Arceus decks play Umbreon. I'm assuming this doesn't count Arceus Duraludon,
I
but it
think.
counts like other Arceus stuff with Umbreon.
Yeah, I mean, that gets tricky, right? Because there's Arceus Duraludon and there's Arceus Umbreon are both listed, but there's also Arceus Umbreon Duraludon. And if that does well, Arceus Umbreon Duraludon, probably you'd get a point for that, and Arceus Duraludon would get a point for that too, I guess.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But I'm gonna go with Arceus Umbreon. I think that's a very good deck, and like versatile. I think a lot of Arceus box decks play Umbreon because it's a really good card, Umbreon VMAX. Because it provides like boss without having to play a supporter, which is super good. Um, and it's like an all-right attacker as well.
It's an interesting one. That's not in the top 8, but by my call, and it's got some bad matchups. But
Yeah,
Lost
its win
Zone,
rate's pretty high on Limitless. It's 52.8, which is pretty good.
it is good. Lost Zone is its weakest one, and obviously there'll be a bunch of Lost Zone there. Giratina Lost Zone is also not great. So, um, anyway, that was down at 13 of mine. So to me, that you got a rogue pick already. So I'm getting.
Rogue. It's not that like 13 is not that.
No, I know, but in terms of IRL players, it's like 3 decks, and anything outside of that, it's rogue, right? At
Yeah, we've
times.
chosen the 3 decks already: Lost Zone Vox, Giratina Lost Zone, and Arceus Umbreon.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. I get to go with the number two pick here, and that is Single Strike Lugia. So,
Wow. No,
well,
that's fine. That's fine.
you're already insulting me, but that's fine. Look, Single Strike Lugia has a positive win rate looking at Trainer Hill. This is part of why I did it with these top 8 against every deck except for one. It's above 500 essentially for every deck except Arceus Duraludon. So it does very well against Urshifu and Talion. It does really well against Fusion Mew.
Urshifu and Talion's not played that much.
No, I know.
That would be like,
That's
yeah,
a
this deck
rogue one.
beats Urshifu and Talion, and that's not like that impressive.
No, but people will play it, and there will be success with that deck too, right? I would you
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if it does well because it is a solid deck. So
Yeah.
Single Strike, it's very does it set up is probably the biggest question. That's a
Yeah, I think it's very inconsistent, and it's
But-
also not like that versatile either.
but it
It's
does.
moderately
But once it
versatile.
sets up, it just smacks you around, and a bunch of people will bring it, and therefore it will be successful because it will it'll enough people will do well enough with it that it'll be probably it'll be at the top tables.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to go with a deck that I think is very good. That is one of the decks with a low win rate on Limitless, but we don't worry
Okay.
about that. I'm gonna take Chen Pao Excalibur, or what's it called?
Chen Pao
Chen Pao
Excalibur.
Excalibur.
Wow. Okay.
Wait, is it a hyphen?
Chen Pao is hyphenated. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that deck's very good. It's like if you set up, you like one shot everything. Like Lugia Single Strike one shots most things, but Chen Pao Excalibur one shots like anything.
So
And it's versatile, and it's not that inconsistent. It's like decently consistent.
all right. So it's played a lot, but what's the win rate for the deck?
Well, don't worry about
Tell us the win rate,
It's
please.
46.6%. But it's also like the hot new deck, and the hot new deck always like has a bad win rate because like new players play.
And
It's
it was
literally
available
free
on the
to play.
ladder, so everybody has it. So people that aren't that good with it play it. But even when I look at Limitless, honestly,
I've seen you play the deck.
I've played it too, and I can win with it.
And I play it.
It
So-
potentially, obviously, you can do huge damage with Chen Pao. You can spread with Radiant Greninja. You may play a Palkia in it. Just one or two. You're not leaning on Palkia. It's a different deck, I would say. But
Yeah.
the win rate's bad. It's only you're going crazy to me now. That's my 17th deck. So
It's the third most played deck on Limitless.
it's like 40% win rate against Arc-Giratina. Fortunately, no one will play that deck, right? Everybody hates that. It's less than 40% against Mew. But Mew's garbage, right? Lost Zone, Giratina
Exactly.
Lost Zone. It's a 42% win rate. Don't worry about these things. No one will play these decks.
I think
All
there's
right.
like a 50% chance that like one of my top 2 picks wins. So I feel fine. with that
Okay,
pick.
so you're okay. So everything else is gravy for you.
Exactly.
Lost
Wait, what?
Zone, it just extra is what it
Yeah.
means. It's an old timey expression. Okay, so sorry for throwing you off there. All right, so my third pick, 6th overall, which is my third pick on my list. I'm getting 1, 2, 3. Arc-Giratina. So people have
Yeah,
been
that's a good
riding the
deck.
Giratina hype train a lot now, right?
Yeah.
So
I mean that's a good deck. That was one of my higher decks as well.
this is the first Arceus deck, right? So
Well, no, I chose
oh no,
Arceus
you took
Umbreon.
Arc-Umbreon. I'm sorry, you're right. So our second Arceus. We have 2 Arceus decks, 2 Lost Zone decks, which are both just good decks. Arceus sets up Giratina, essentially at 280, knocks out whatever big threat your opponent's playing. You have you'd have the Lost Zone attack, but you're probably not using it in that deck. So that doesn't really come into play. But at 280, you got choice belts in the deck, so it's taken out what you need to and sets up well. So I think it's a solid pick.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just go down my list. Actually, I switched my 2 and 3, but I'll go with my 4th deck right on the Arceus train. I'm just gonna take Arceus.
Okay, that's not even on my list. So all right, so how do
So
we
this is like the weird deck.
So hang on, I'm writing this.
I think
so
some like
this is-
weird Arceus deck is just gonna like pop up and like I wouldn't be shocked if it just like pops up and wins.
So okay, but all right. So what can't it include here? Then
I can't include. Well, I
can't be
can't.
a
It
Giratina.
can't be thick. I think
It
it can
can't be
include a
Goodra,
1/1
right?
line of stuff. Then it can include a 1/1 line of something, but
Of
it can't
anything?
include.
So if
Yeah.
it has a 1/1 Giratina and a 1/1 Flying Pikachu and a 1/1 Alolan Vulpix, you're good.
Yeah, but it can't include Giratina, Duraludon. Let's see, Regidraco, Umbreon, Goodra, Flying Pikachu, Lone Vulpix, Rayquaza, Tapu Koko,
So-
and Lycanroc,
So you
or
can.
Gyarados, or Mewtwo.
So-
Union.
I know there's like
Or
a
Sylveon.
dozen different
As long as
Arceus
it's not that,
decks
it's all good. It's all
on
good.
on there. So as long as
Just
it's
watch
like
me.
the
Just watch
Arceus, Entei, Suicune, Raikou deck, you're good to go, right? Something like that.
Yeah, we got this. We got this.
I just don't know what's gonna that'll be a big debate.
I mean, it's played a bunch though. It's like it's 20 on Limitless, which isn't like that low. Its win
Yeah.
rate's like questionable because it's like weird stuff. But
Well,
yeah,
but it's a lot of people that made odd decks for it, I would assume.
yeah,
Which
but
hurts the win
it's
rate.
a solid deck. It's a solid. Deck.
It can be. This is going to be a real, like what
I can be like technically I won.
that's the
I
thing.
gotcha.
It's going to be a debate at the end of the day
figure it
now
out.
of
We'll
what qualifies for it will determine whether you win or lose, probably.
Maybe I think I'm happy with that pick though.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't even on my list, so I mean, just you're really going oddball for me, but that's fine. So
Wow, I'm
anyway, so
crazy.
my pick, my 4th pick, 8th overall is Urshifu Inteleon. Even though I said
No, you said it was Inteleon Urshifu.
oh yeah, it is Inteleon Urshifu. You're right, and that's what it's written down here. So I apologize, but if they play more Urshifus than Inteleons, I still count in the deck. Okay,
Mhm.
but yes, Inteleon Urshifu. That's how it should be written out. That is correct. It's a very good deck. It's got its bad matchups. Looking at the matchups, if you see Single Strike Lugia, you just cry and lose. You see Fusion Strike Mew, you cry, you lose. Arctura, you can win, but you're not favored. But you see Arceus Giratina, it's got almost a 75% win rate. So that's just
Wow.
I mean that's crazy, right?
Which is your deck. Which is your deck.
Yeah, Lost Zone
So you're
Box.
insulting your other deck.
Lost Zone Box, 65% win rate.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. That's like a direct
Gardevoir,
counter.
which we haven't brought up yet, 61% win rate. So it's got some great matchups and some bad matchups. And it takes a lot of skill, but obviously they're skilled players. So I think it's a solid choice.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I gotta go with it. I don't like this deck. I'm really. It just doesn't work for me. But you
Uh-oh.
avoided it. So I'll take Gardevoir.
Okay.
I did in fact say at one point, and I guess I'll stick to it. That if Gardevoir wins, I said I'll eat the deck. So I'll stand by that, I guess. But I think it'll. I mean, it's a popular deck. I'll
It-
take it.
All right. I mean, it gets a lot of talk from the big
I mean, it's the most played deck in the game, so that's like pretty impressive.
It is, and I listen to some podcasts, and you look at
And the top 3 most played decks.
it will end up in amongst the top IRL players, right, that do podcasts or videos. They're all saying this is the best deck. The thing is, maybe I'm talking too much, and anyway, you can tell me about it later, but yell at me. But it's like 50. It's below 50% for almost every matchup on Trainer Hill.
Yeah, it does like lose every matchup.
I mean,
but,
it's 50%
not
against
every
3
matchup.
decks.
It meets Miraidon and Regieleki.
Okay, that one's not on this list I have here. Of, it's 40% Arctina, it's 45% against Arcturalodon, 42% against Giratina Lost Zone, 38% against Inteleon Urshifu. So it's very matchup dependent. It's when it sets up, it's a beast, but it's slow, and that's one of the problems, right? As a stage 2 deck.
Yeah, it's slow. It's like a comeback deck. I think it's solid. I think it'll see play.
Oh yeah, it'll see play,
which is good. Like it's not like an awful deck by any means.
No.
And I think that's like I'm surprised you didn't pick that earlier. I feel like taking that later on. I'm good with that.
Well, I have my top 8, which I think are the top decks that are being.
Have I taken any of your like top 8?
You did. Gardevoir was number
Lost.
8. It was number 8. So I didn't.
Is that your next deck?
No, and then Lost Zone box was 5. So I'm down to 6. I have to skip a slot, but I'm taking Fusion Mew, which is
Fusion Mew. Whoa.
It's a tremendous.
Is it called Fusion Mew? Oh, it is called Fusion Mew.
Or I mean the you see Mew and Meloetta, right? Or Mew.
Yeah, no, it's
Meloetta.
the deck's called Fusion Mew on Limitless. Okay,
Yeah.
So that's okay.
And we all know what I mean, right? It has Fusion Strike energy. So with the 10th pick overall, Fusion Mew.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, right.
I am on Google Sheet and it's like offset. So
okay, because it's 2 digits now or something.
No, because the first column is our names.
Oh, okay, so
I'm on column 6, but it's your 5th pick.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Right. So a very good deck, right? It's concerning. It's got some bad matchups. So I will say that, like, it's got 4 of these top 8 decks. It's got 4 matchups that you're slightly disfavored. Obviously, Path to the Peak can be rough for you. You can play Path, but or Spiritomb. If people play Spiritomb, you're in a lot of trouble. You do have the Fusion Strike energy, so you can get some of your Genesects, but it's an uphill battle. Depending how people tech for it. It's a good deck. It's not on the top deck people are thinking of. So a lot of players, hopefully, will cut the Spiritomb, cut the Drapion, because they don't let someone else deal with Mew. And if that's the case, Mew can have its day.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I don't know. I think people tech a lot for it. Like,
well,
I guess they tech less, but
you only need one card. Like if most people, half the people play Spiritomb, Mew's just not going to do anything.
Yeah,
I mean that's the reality.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not gonna. Let's see. I'll skip one. I'll skip some. I'll go with my favorite ladder deck, and the best deck on the ladder, Ting Lu.
All right, which is number 20 on my list. So we're really thinking things through differently here, which is good.
I think so far, you haven't said any decks that aren't on my list, and I don't.
Okay.
Have I said any decks that aren't on yours?
Arceus wasn't. It wasn't on my list of my 20. I had a bigger list that I got the 20 from. But
okay, trust me, I'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, Ting Lu was 20 though. It just barely made the list.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what's its win rate on Limitless? Win rate on Limitless isn't great, but it's not like awful. And it's like it's a pretty
and it's played a decent amount, right?
Yeah, it's played a decent amount. It's certainly a solid win rate.
I don't think it's been played much in IRL though. The IRL players don't respect.
It just came out. Like they don't respect anything though.
It is. I mean, looking at the win rates,
maybe cheating, but don't worry about it.
Hey.
No. That's for another day. So yeah, no, Ting Lu's Ting Lu's kind of toxic, which is why I like it.
It is.
But yeah, Ting Lu's like an all right deck. It's solid, and it's like bad. It doesn't like turn off EXs, but I got all the EX decks, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean it's good. Tinglu's most effective against players that don't quite know how to handle it, right? And they're
Well, I
up
think
against
it's
good
I don't know. I
players.
think like I played it. So I played in the ladder. I played King Lu, and I also play some Gardevoir. I don't play much Gardevoir. Every time I try it, and I try Gardevoir, and it never works. And then I play a game of Ting Lu, and it just like obliterates my opponent. I think it's surprisingly consistent. Like you consistently attack turn two, like every game, and your opponents are like never one shotting you. I think it's a very strong. It's a pretty strong deck.
Uh, all right. I mean, look, uh, it's it doesn't do a lot of damage. That's one issue you got, right? And then it's really good against Lost Zone Box. It's really good against Arc Duraludon. Those are nice. But then if you see Urshifu Teleon, you lose. You see Giratina Lost Zone, you lose. You see Gardevoir, you lose. You see Fusion Mew, you don't even need to show up to the table. You just go home and have a meal at that point because you got nothing going on. So it's
You
got
can
some
eat real well. You play the games. It's fine.
so it's got some really bad matchups. But look, it's a fun deck. I'd love to see it do well. Oh, well, I mean, it's not fun to play against,
Yeah, I'm not sure if just define it as a fun deck.
I mean, I'm glad it's around, and it's
If it wins
successful,
Worlds, I'm gonna be sad.
well, yeah, then I think we need to just
I'm
not
like gonna go
play.
record my Obsidian Flames content and just like concede every game.
I might just, yeah, I might not even for the next week. I might not even want to play to finish my daily challenges because all you'll see is Ting Lu, and you won't do anything. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right, so that was pick 11. So with pick 12, the last of my top 8 decks, and that's Arceus Duraludon.
That's a solid. I mean, it's inconsistent. I think that's
It's
why I don't like it.
getting it set up isn't great. It's got a couple bad matchups that are really awful. Arceus
I don't think that was on my
Giratina.
list.
Both Giratina decks one is 30% Giratina Lost Zone. It's like almost 20% win rate against Arctina. So that's obviously horrific. But then it's like Lost
Do I
Zone
spell
Box,
this?
it's 65%, Single Strike Lugia 50. It's got some very good matchups, everything else though. So does it set up? Obviously, the question. It will get played. I'm not worried about that, right? Some decks I'm concerned that just no one's going to play them, right? But this will get played.
Yeah. Wait. Out of the decks you said you're concerned don't get played.
No, all the ones I've said are going to get played. But so as we get later in the list, there are some decks I'm not sure will get played.
Yeah, I don't think that one was on my list.
What's that?
I don't think Arceus Duraludon was on my list. It's
Really?
just I don't know. I don't like it. It's very inconsistent.
I think it's
for
better than
my liking.
Arceus Umbreon. They're two obviously can be the same deck too, but I think
Yeah.
um,
No, I think it's. I mean, like I kind of get that. I think Arceus Umbreon has more of its own identity outside of Duraludon as well. But
yeah.
we'll see.
I mean, someone's probably going to play and do well with Arceus Duraludon and Umbreon, and then I guess we're both going to get the points. But we'll have to see
Yeah.
what the build
We'll
is.
see. We'll see. And then okay, I'm not sure what I want to take next. Let's see. I do have 2 Arceus decks already.
Okay.
Um, let's see. I'm not sure what to take. I got some. Let's see. I have 3 picks left.
Is that where we're at now? Okay.
I believe, right?
I don't. Well, that was pick 12, so I guess
That was pick 12. Oh, we have.
so we have 4 left each. I think.
Oh, well, we have 4 left.
Is
Okay,
that
I'll
really
just
going to
take-
change your mind? But go on.
Yeah, no, I'll go lock in. I'll go lock in Lost Zone with Radiant Charizard.
Lost Zone Charizard. Now that one, okay, that was down at 18 for me. So you're
Wow.
scraping the I like that though. It gets seized.
Oh, I misspelled Charizard.
It gets played a good amount, right? And it does. It's a solid deck.
Yeah, I think it's like a solid deck. Don't look at the win rate again. Like
Well, I'm
the
going to
collective
call it
winner
up
is
while
gonna
we're
be, like-
looking here.
it's 47.5.
Lost Zone. All right, so let's see it because you get these nice reds, and the darker the red, the worse it does. So it's got some good matchups. 3 blues, but it's got 5 reds, and some of the reds are pretty bad. So,
It's
it,
loading. It's taking its time.
so I won't read out the numbers to you because it'll make you sad. But it's very matchup dependent. I
On
think.
on this list, it looks like it's good. It's like good against Chen Pao. It's good against Gardevoir. It's good against Giratina Lost Zone. So
Mhm.
against regular Lost Zone, against Lugia and Miraidon. So like those are like
Well, single
heavily
strike
blue.
Lugia says it's 44%. So
Or
it's
wait, did I
below.
look at the? Oh no, it's not great. It's like 47. I was looking at the,
Okay.
but it's good against some other things. It's good against like Giratina, Gardevoir. I think it's a pretty solid
Oh, wait,
deck.
the Lost Zone. No, actually, sorry, I was looking at the wrong. Like Lost Zone Charizard. So it's 60% against Lugia. I mean, Giratina Lost Zone's below 30%, so that's not good. Urshifu and Talion, of course, just rolls you over.
Wait, what Giratina lost on?
Yeah,
Oh,
at least according to Trainer Hill. But it's got some good matchups. It's got some bad matchups, more good than bad. So it's not a bad deck at all.
yeah.
I'm not sure.
I feel like that's a solid deck.
Yeah, it's fallen off people's radar. So either people are being quiet about it and are going to play it, or it's just not going to see played. So that's a deck I'm a little concerned that it won't show up much too.
Yeah, I don't think it'll show up as much, but I think it's a pretty strong deck. It's one that was like pretty high on my list as well. I think it's a good deck. As I said, everything else is, as you said, gravy.
Yeah. So this one, and exactly now you got a new phrase you can
Yeah.
use. So that's a plus too. So I'm going with my what's this? Oh wait, that was the 14th pick with a deck I figured I would get, and that's Palkia.
Yeah, that's
so
not on my
going
list.
Rogue with Palkia, right? Is that Rogue?
Yeah, I'd say that's well, that's 17th played. That's not as low as I thought. I think it's been picking up.
Well, because the win rate against the top 8 decks is tremendous. It's disfavored to Single Strike Lugia, and it's very bad against Arctina. But Arctura it rolls, Gardevoir it rolls.
I'm gonna say it needs at least a 2/2 Palkia, right?
I think, yeah. Well, I think yes, and it can play Chen Pao.
Yeah.
So Chen Pao's okay. Usually it doesn't play Baxcalibur. That's usually
We'll
the
just say a
defining
2/2
feature.
Palkia is fine.
Okay. I mean, if it plays like 2/2 Palkia, but also a 2/2 Baxcalibur, then it gets a little weird as well.
Yeah, I think we'll give that to you. I think we'll give that to you. Like if I get like Draldon, Umbreon, well, we'll see. We'll see how things go.
Okay. Usually it doesn't play Baxcalibur, though.
Yeah, I'm buttering you up for the Arceus deck.
So you want me to give you that? Like you're going to get like half the points, like half the decks will have an Arceus. So you're like, there we go,
Exactly.
including
Like
the
Chen Pao
right,
Arceus.
with the 1/1 Arceus that they never attack with, just to use the ability once in the game, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No. So I'll pick my next deck. Let's see what I have. Okay. I think this is fine. There's some other decks that I want here.
Okay.
I think I have to. Yeah, I have to take it. I'm gonna go. Calling it. There's a chance back-to-back world championships.
Oh, that would have been my next
Arceus
pick.
Flying Pikachu.
I'm bummed.
Yeah.
I'm bummed about that one. Good pick. That was next on my list, and I do think it could go back to back. So you can talk about it some more.
Yeah, I mean it's good. Like it's weird because it gets like tossed around and stuff. It is a pretty strong deck, and also one of the highest win rate decks is I think the highest in the top 50. Oh no, it's not, but it's decently high. Is Arceus Tapu Koko, which is pretty much just Arceus Flying Pikachu. I don't really know why it's called Arceus Tapu Koko. It's like
Yeah.
2/2 Flying Pikachu, 2/2 Tapu Koko. But it's pretty good. It's like a strong deck. It sees like play in lots of different things as well.
Mhm.
In my opinion, it's one of the best Arceus partners.
Yeah, no, I mean, in looking at Trainer Hill, the win rates are very good. It only has one bad matchup in that Single Strike Lugia, and it's got very. I mean, Lost Zone Box, it owns it. It's
Yeah, it is very good.
80% win
It's-
rate there, 60% win rate against Arctura, Fusion Mew, it's almost 60%. The thing is, it's not played a lot though, because like for two of the other decks, no data, it doesn't show up with results because it's not played enough. So that's a deck that it's off people's radar, but it's gonna get played. It is good, so I certainly respect that.
Against
choice.
wait, what are the decks that it isn't?
Oh, I just
showing up?
closed it. All right, okay, let me see.
Was one of them Palkia?
Let me see. No, I removed that. It doesn't show up against Inteleon Urshifu.
I feel like that's
just
probably a
that
win.
actually. That's the only one, and then it
That
doesn't
seems
show
like a
up.
win.
The mirror doesn't
you hit
show up.
You hit Well, it's a little awkward because Urshifu hits Arceus for weakness, but then
Yeah.
Flying Pikachu hits Italian for weakness, and it also resists Urshifu, which is good.
Yeah, no, I mean, that would be a fun game to see if it happened. I think so.
Yeah. Or someone might just not set up, and then that won't be as fun.
Well, yeah, hopefully, out of 3 games, there's at least one competitive game. So,
Yeah.
so no, that's a good pick. I like it, and I'd certainly be pleased to see Arc Flying Peak win back-to-back worlds. I think it would be well deserved.
Yeah.
So now so now things get dicey for me, I gotta say. I guess
I
I'm gonna
now have 3 decks I could choose from, and they're all weird.
my 19th pick, which I might not get to, but I think I'm gonna have to take that one last probably and jump up on that. But all right, so I'll take the next on my list, and that's Arceus Rayquaza.
Ah, a
Um,
classic. No, that deck was not on my list.
no, yeah, I mean, I don't feel good saying it. I'm not sure it's going to get played much, but
You're like, you know what? People have been slacking on Rayquaza VMAX.
so Arceus
I
Rayquaza.
did.
But let me think. All right, let me look at the win rate. See, why am I thinking this could be a deck? The win rate's great,
That's
actually.
probably pretty good.
There's no data against that
It's
for Inteleon. It's not. It's only
is there
40.
data against it for like anything?
Yeah, it's only 40% against Single Strike Lugia, but it's 70% against Arcadura. It's 63% against Arctina, 60% against Fusion Mew, 33% against Gardevoir. Okay.
You're like,
61%
oh, okay.
against Giratina Lost Zone, 64% against Lost Zone Box. So it's really good against most matchups.
Yeah, it's an interesting deck, but
It's I'm not as confident about that one, obviously. It might not get played.
yeah, I mean it's like your one of the last picks. So
Yeah.
okay, so I'm gonna choose. I'll take. Okay, so let's see here. So we're talking about control because control's weird.
Yes. Because mostly it's just other.
Yeah. Well, there's three things. So it's Snorlax Stall is one of them.
Mhm.
There's the Penny deck, which is I
Right,
don't
with
know.
the V.
And like Mimikyu V and Ursaluna V or Ursalana V or whatever. And
Mhm.
then there's others. I'm gonna take other control. So
Other
control
control.
it's not like Mimikyu V loop. Or it's also not like Snorlax Stall.
So you took Arceus and other, which are like 75% of the decks are covered in those things. But okay, so
Yeah, control other.
so other control, so no Snorlax.
No, maybe we can have like one, but it's not like there's
You can't
Snorlax
play
like four
multiple,
Snorlax.
right.
Just like
And probably
Okay.
even two, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see.
yeah, we'll see.
And no,
And then
no Penny.
well,
right?
no like Mimikyu. Pretty much every control deck plays Penny,
So no
but
Mimikyu.
no like not like a Penny
Mimikyu V.
focus. Yeah, Mimikyu V or if it's like a Penny.
It can
loop
play the
deck,
single prize
it's-
Mimikyu.
Yeah, if it's like a Penny loop deck where you like get hit and then you like heal, that's not counted.
And no Penny
Um,
loop. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think I gotta put control somewhere on there. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it'll be played. We know, right? I'm pretty sure Sanders got his invite, and there's other people that play control too that don't get the press. But Sander usually does get the best results. Is it going to make top 8? Maybe. If it does, then of course it won't win because then you can complain about how the rules keep it down. But
Exactly. I'll be like, this is like unfair.
it's not. It's the rules for top 8 rules, right? It's not day 2 rules. It's the top 8
Yeah, I don't
rules.
really know how the rules work, to be honest.
I think because they have to
Heard
have
people complain about it, but like people like
Yeah.
to complain. So
because they can't have a tie, so the tiebreaker is most prizes. I think.
oh yeah, that's not. I
So
don't like
so that's but they don't want to play all day. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's
That'd be
it
crazy.
is what it is. So okay, so other, so great. You're really narrowing in
no
there.
control other.
Other / control. Yes. Okay. All right. What do I do here? Do I take the next deck on my list? I don't like it for this event, but
Just take it. Take it.
I'm going to take it.
Sunday.
It's going to get played. It does work. It's
Is
DTE
it-
Mew.
DTE Mew. That deck's bad.
Well,
What's that deck called? It's called like Mew Genesect or something.
yeah, Mew.
It's called Mew
Genesect.
Genesect.
Yes. Well, you can call it that, but so does. But then if I call it that, then I also should get Fusion Strike Mew, right? Because
Nah.
that plays Mew in Genesect too. So I call it
does.
DTE Mew. Yes, it's not how it's classified, but you know what I
You
mean.
you can also double up. So if someone plays like, if someone plays like Arceus and if someone plays Lost Zone Charizard with like Tinglu or something,
Mhm.
then I'd get double points. I'm just like kind of silly. If they play like Arceus Flying Pikachu Umbreon, then I could get double points.
I'm not sure what you're saying, but I'm not going to worry
No, well,
about it.
no. So if someone plays,
You have Flying
because I have
Pikachu
Arceus
and
and Umbreon
Umbreon.
together, yeah, and you can get double.
Yes, you're not going to get a
I
point
think.
for your Arceus deck, but I think
No,
the
no,
other
no, the
two,
Arceus will
you
not overlap.
probably would then. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see that. We'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah.
figure out a way that I win.
So DTE
That won't be hard
Mew
to do.
is if your opponent plays Spiritomb, you just lose, I believe.
Wait, no, I thought they play like Path, so they don't use their abilities anyway.
Who? DTE Mew?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can't use the Genesects ever. But they can bump the path with something, right?
They play like 4 Lost Vacuum.
Um, yeah. So, but they can't get rid of the Spiritomb, so it's a problem.
Yeah,
Um,
it's fine. It's fine. No, the deck's like I don't think the deck's particularly good.
it has certain advantage over the Fusion Mew.
It's worse than the Fusion Mew. Fusion Mew has 50.6%, 0.60% win
All
rate.
right.
Mugenesec is 50.59%.
Let me find it on the list. I'm going to be depressed when I look at what it
No,
actually
it's
does.
by it's less than by 0.01%.
Well,
So
I'm scrolling down. Where is it on the list? No, I got the cast form. It's got to be above that, right? For plays.
yeah, it's just like up there. I don't even know how this list is like sorted. Oh, it's here. It like let me see.
Oh,
So
Mugenesec. There
Mugenesec,
we go. So I want to see the win rate for the things here.
it's actually pretty good, I guess. It beats like a bunch of decks. Like
It's
in the blue for a bunch of
500 ish
decks. It's in
against
like
a bunch.
it's in like oh what I'm looking at is it's in blue for a bunch and like in a red red for a
No,
bunch.
it only
It's
has
all
one
right.
blue. What I see, and that's Urshifu Inteleon. Inteleon
Oh, it beats
Urshifu.
Miraidon and Regieleki.
Yeah, I don't have that here. Up against Single Strike, it gets crushed. It's disfavored to Mugenesec, to Lost Zone, disfavored to Giratina Lost Zone, disfavored to Arctura. But we don't have to worry about those decks, right?
Yeah. Don't worry about this.
So that's my pick. I guess it's too late to change it. So there we go.
Yeah. So for my last pick, I got a strong pick here. A
Mhm.
deck that wins every matchup.
Every matchup. All right.
Confidently.
Good.
It's like so good.
Mhm.
Text for any matchup. The
Okay.
greatest deck of all
Oh
time.
no.
Yeah.
Are you?
It's Zoroark.
You're doing Zorak, which isn't on my list. Okay, so there we go. 19.
I just gotta like figure I'd be just so it's
Mhm.
it's so good.
And maybe they can come up with a control build of it, and then it's another control deck too,
Exactly. It's yeah.
right?
I'm a believer in Zoroark. I mean, not that much of a believer. I took it at number 10, but still.
Yeah, your last pick, Zoroark. Okay, I mean, yeah, Zoroark's interesting. I don't think it'll get played a lot, I gotta say.
Wow, you're a hater.
Well, and the other thing is the day one rules to qualify for day two, ties are really bad to make day two. So you can switch decks for day two. If they switch to day two, it doesn't matter. But usually you want to stick with the same deck just because you're getting a rhythm, hopefully. I think Zoroark's probably going to fall into ties. So I think that hurts it too. But okay.
It wins every matchup. It's never gonna tie. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it wins every matchup that it doesn't lose, which is okay. I mean, that's fine. I mean, your opponent's not going to know what you're doing necessarily. So hopefully.
And nor will you. Yeah, it's a complete surprise.
All right, so I'm down to the last pick. So, all right, I have the next pick. I should be, but I think I'm going to skip it. Is Gudra Lost Zone?
You're skipping that.
Yeah, I mean, I love the goo, and then the pick after that I'm going to skip too. I think, and that's Art Gudra.
You said you love the goo.
I love the goo. Yeah.
I love yeah.
All right.
What's the next one?
So, and then the next deck, which I'm going to skip again, is Arceus Gudra. So I have back-to-back Gudra decks. Going to skip those. The next deck, just as we're wrapping up here, Lugia Archeops, not Single Strike. Going to skip that one too. I think. All right, I'm going to look up.
Should I say the list I skipped?
Yes.
I skipped Arceus alone, Vulpix. I think that's good.
That is a good deck. Yeah, that didn't make my
I think
20,
it
but
probably
it
plays
it was
like Umbreon or Flying Pikachu.
the matchups
so.
were not good often,
Yeah.
and a good opponent can beat it, right? More
Well,
so.
It depends. It depends what you're playing.
Depends on the deck, but
But like Gardevoir, you're probably not beating it. They have some routes, but they're not like great.
right.
But
But a lot of decks have attackers that can deal with it. So you just got to be smart with how
Yeah.
you proceed. I look. I like the deck too. It was just outside the top 20 for me. I think its matchups weren't great.
I also had I had Lost on Gudra. I had Gardevoir Mewtwo. It's a pretty popular deck, but I don't really like Gardevoir. So.
Mhm.
And then I also had Dalga with Magnezone, and then I crossed that off. So yeah,
I
and
mean,
then
I'd love to see it do well, but yeah, I don't think it's probably not gonna get played, and probably won't work if it is played.
yeah, I have Single Strike with Houndoom, like
Mhm.
Umbreon VMAX with like Houndoom or something.
Yep.
And then I have one of my favorite decks that was the highest win rate, but is not anymore as far as I know. And
What's
that is the Regigigas V-Star.
Regigigas V-Star, baby. Yeah, I'm liking that. So.
Oh, it's its fourth highest win rate. It's 15, 10, and 1.
Mhm.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Not terrible. And other
Actually,
decks
very good.
that didn't make my list, but that were decent. Well, no, there's Darkrai that gets some play, not good, and then United Wings. That one could it will get some play, I think. maybe.
Maybe it's like not. It's not good.
It got played
it
in
does
the,
like lose every matchup, but
it
like
has certain good matchups. It was got played at NAIC, but I think it was played by good players. But I think there are good players that were locked into Worlds and just did it for fun. Although I think it might have made top 64 or something. But it was
maybe that's not like that. Like top 64 is like good, but it's not like
no, it's not great.
you could like definitely get into top 64 in a fluke. Not that they did, but I don't know. Like United Wings isn't that good of a deck, so I think
No.
it's fair not choosing that.
All right, so I'm going
I
with
think I know what deck you're
my
choosing.
20th pick. It's down to 19 on my list. I'm skipping down because I'll just be too sad if it does something, and if it does, and some of the Japanese players do like this deck.
It's cast form.
And that's Miraidon Flaffy.
Yeah, right in Flaffy. Okay.
Do I need to take it with Flaffy? Can I just say Miraidon? If they play Flaffy, do I get credit? Or I got to pick Miraidon? Miraidon Flaffy is the better build generally.
I'll give you Miraidon. I'll give you.
So I'll just take Miraidon. So if it's Reggie,
yeah, I don't think
Regieleki
Miraidon's
or
doing it.
Flaffy. Okay, so I'm just writing down Miraidon. So I'm erasing Flaffy. So now I'm in really good shape. You're doing that because of Arceus. You took Arceus, and that's like.
No, I think I don't.
And you
believe
took
in
Arceus
Miraidon.
and you took Lost Zone Box. So like half the decks, you just got covered there with those.
I got Arceus at 4. You could have taken that before.
I just
You're like, no, I'll take Arceus Giratina. Like,
yeah, what was I thinking? Okay, yeah, I mean, look, Miraidon probably doesn't do anything, but it's not impossible that it makes a top 8, right? Somebody could make top 8 with it. It could happen.
yeah, like theoretically.
The matchups, it's actually not bad against some of these. Arc Giratina, it's 60% win rate, 72% win rate against Single Strike Lugia.
It's sure like the decks like you chose. You're like these
Urshifu
decks
and
are
Teleon, it's good against that. If he's Lost Zone Box, that's
how
not
Urshifu
good.
and Teleon like is loses to Miraidon. I used to play a bunch of Urshifu and Teleon. I never lost. Miraidon's like a free matchup because you get them for a weakness and you like destroy. If they're playing Flaffy, you just like destroy all their Flaffies. I don't know. To me, that's like an auto win.
Yeah. I mean, both decks are a little inconsistent potentially, right?
I don't think I've ever played a game with like Urshifu against Miraidon where I haven't won by 6 prizes.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I haven't taken 6 prizes before they've taken any.
I mean, if as long as the question then becomes, do you not play the Inteleons, right? Because then you're weak with the Inteleons, and do you want to ping with the Inteleons? Do you need that to win?
No, you don't.
You just don't use them. You just don't bench
Because you
them.
one shot all their Pokemon for 1 energy anyway. So it doesn't really
I
matter.
get it. I mean, I understand that. So, it's only right. It's actually slightly favored here on Trainer Hill. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you're arguing.
Anyways, I feel good about my picks.
All right, and I'm happy with mine because I got most of my top picks, and you got most of your top picks.
I did.
So we approached it differently, and that's good. So
In the end, I'll win, but it's fine.
So we won't have the results our next podcast after this because that we probably might be recording
You'll record it during
Worlds. It would
probably before. We'll probably post it or we'll record it before Worlds and then post it after Worlds. So that's why we didn't record this next week.
Right.
Although our podcast schedule might be a little weird, we're going to record some podcasts early because we're going to be a little busy coming up. But we'll see about that. Hopefully, we don't say something and then we post it, and by the time we post it, it's like blatantly like wrong.
Yeah,
But that might be true of all our stuff, anyways.
that is a risk with any YouTube videos that we pre-record, which we both do sometimes because it's good to get a little buffer there, and sometimes by the time it's uploaded, it's released, it's not as relevant. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
So there you have it, the top 20 decks for Worlds. So don't use this to bet on things. Not wise at all, I would say.
Yeah, like if you're like if you choose like Giratina Lost Zone, that's like crazy.
Yeah, and if you just take Arceus and get all the Arceus decks covered, that is pretty good. So
Got this. Yeah, I should have taken Arceus. I should have taken Ultra Ball as we were talking. Ultra Ball got in the bag. So now I want to move on to the next thing.
I think we should. Yes.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, so obviously Obsidian Flames is just around the corner.
Yep. It comes out the same day as World starts, I believe. I don't know why they sequenced it that way, but that's the way it falls.
Okay. Anyway, so let me actually look when Obsidian Flames is coming out. It is coming out the 11th. Okay.
It comes
So
out
yeah,
on August 10th. You can play it on live, and that's what you and I care about, and a lot of
yeah,
our listeners.
theoretically.
Well, assuming live works, but that's a separate issue, right?
Yep. So we are going to be talking about baby Pokemon though, because there are baby Pokemon coming back in Obsidian Flames, which is the first time in like 4 years or something.
Yes, Sun and
It's
Moon was the last time, somewhere in the
yeah,
Sun and
like
Moon era.
end of Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
So this is cool. I guess we're not boomers, so we didn't. Well, I'm not a boomer, so we didn't play
I'm not a
with like
boomer
the
either.
old. No, you're not technically. So I didn't play with baby Pokemon before,
When they actually
and
were a baby. I mean, they're actually.
yeah,
We'll
they
get into
were.
discussion. They're actually. They haven't been actual baby Pokemon in the game for a long time.
No. So in case you didn't know, I assume you know this. If you're like 40 minutes into our podcast of us talking about Pokemon cards, you know that there are different stages of Pokemon.
Mhm.
Generally, basic stage 1, stage 2, and there are some other ones. There are actually a lot of other ones. I don't remember how many, but yeah, those are the general ones. But baby
Yep.
Pokemon were like a different stage at one point, but now they're basic Pokemon. And they're very like unclear. It's very strange. If you
Why
look
don't
at
you
the
talk about babies in the video game? Because it comes from the video game first, and it's doesn't exactly. It's a little weird the way it
Yeah,
translates.
as with pretty much everything in the TCG. So there are baby Pokemon in the video game that are pre-evolutions to basic Pokemon.
Yeah.
Normally you have an evolution line that's a basic stage 1, stage 2, or whatever. But then there are pre-evolutions to the basic. For example, Snorlax is an iconic basic Pokemon in the TCG, has a number of very good cards.
Mhm.
And in the video game, actually, I don't know how basics work, but there's a pre-evolution called Munchlax. And generally, although I don't think completely, baby Pokemon were introduced after the evolution. So Snorlax was a base, was a I should say base set, but like a Gen 1 Pokemon, and Munchlax was um let me pull it up. I think it might have been Gen 2.
So
No, it was Gen 4. It was close.
okay. So
No, it
Snorlax
wasn't
is the
Timeless.
basic Pokemon. Munchlax is the baby form of Snorlax.
Yeah.
And in the video
Um,
game, Munchlax evolves from Snorlax.
I
Correct.
think we can also get like Snorlax,
You can find a Snorlax
maybe,
also.
but I think you can find like evolutions anyways. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We don't really play we've played Scarlet like collectively maybe 20 hours.
Yeah,
Most of us
maybe.
like doubled up because so I'd say yeah like 10 hours into Scarlet maybe. I think you played a little more. You played maybe like
guess
what
so.
3 gyms, the first like base like
Yeah, one of the
team.
was it Stargrunt or I don't whatever.
All right, yeah, Team Star.
Team Star. Yeah, I did one of those. Yeah.
They reference the V Star Pokemon. They say Hasta la V Star. Which
Okay.
is I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to be like V Star, but they say V Star, so it's kind of weird.
Right, because the V stars are already out, but whatever. So
Yeah.
um
So we'll talk about the first gen. So I believe there are 5 like versions of baby Pokemon in the TCG. And we're not really going to talk about specifics because we don't know the specific meta too much, except I believe the first one. We're going to be talking about Clefas because I believe Cleffa has had a version of each of them.
and Cleffa
but the
was played, right? Competitively.
Yeah, Cleffa was I think good. It was like super good. It was also like I think annoying, but like supposedly, it like the game was like bad or something. Which I mean, let's be honest, Pokemon players like always say the game's bad. No one hates Pokemon more than Pokemon fans. But yeah, there's some people are complaining about the meta, and then apparently this like Cleffa like fixed things.
Yeah,
But
and as we got through it, you see the Cleffa. It's a weird, right? What the Cleffa did as a baby in the old days was a little odd, and it's become much more mainstream over time. I think.
yeah, and I think you said that it's progressively gotten worse as well as it's gone on.
Yeah, I think they nerfed it, but I think it was probably too good to start with. So the first ones were Gen 2, right? That's when babies
Yeah,
came
but I
out.
believe so.
Is now I don't know what Pokemon set that corresponds. What TCG set that corresponds
I
to.
think it was the Neo generation.
Okay.
This is Cleffa here is from Neo Genesis. So
Yes.
I'll say the baby rule I think is called if this so it's a baby Pokemon which is like its stage.
Well, and it
It's
says
not a
it says on the card
it
here,
counts as
baby
basic.
Pokemon counts as a basic. So it actually says that it is a baby on it.
Well, yeah. But I guess it's kind of also basic. I don't know. Um, and this is like weird. This is kind of why they were cut. So if this baby Pokemon is your active Pokemon and your opponent tries to attack, your opponent flips a coin before doing anything to do the attack. And then if tails, the turn ends without an attack. AKA it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like confusion. You don't take damage, but
Well, or special effects, right? Later on, I think you remove damage. There's something that stopped damage. This also, then you wouldn't get poisoned or confused or anything like that
well,
either.
no, well,
The attack doesn't
well,
happen.
yeah,
if,
no,
if
the
it's
attacks
tails.
have, but I'm saying it's like confusion because confusion you like flip a coin before you attack.
Yes.
So having Clef in the
Okay,
active is
I
kind of like
understand.
always being confused. This is true of all the basic Pokemon, I believe.
For Gen 2.
Yeah, the first era of I don't know if I might have gone into Gen 3 as well. I don't remember. You have it pulled up, right?
I
Or do you
think,
just have
well,
the Cleffa?
I just have the Clefas up. I think, as I understand it, the Gen 2s were babies that could evolve, which you haven't got. We'll get to that. They were all
Wait, these can evolve? I thought the next ones can evolve.
no.
Oh,
Okay.
it does. Oh, it says on the card. I can
Yes.
see the card's very small.
So I can read it off. So babies could evolve. They all had 30 HP, is my understanding, and they had the baby rule or whatever. When attacked, they flipped for whether the Pokemon would be damaged. And actually, not just damaged, but whether the attack would happen. So all effects of the attack could be negated, right?
Yeah.
So it's 30 HP. There's no weakness, no resistance, no retreat cost, which I think was true for all of them.
Yeah, and these might have all been colorless. I could be wrong on that though.
Right. It has that they could evolve. It says on it, evolves into Clefairy, put Clefairy on the baby Pokemon. So
So
Clefairy,
you like evolve a basic into a basic kind of, which is weird.
right, the baby, which counts as a basic, then could evolve into a basic. So you had that option. You could leave it as a Cleffa, or you could evolve it into the basic. So which would count as evolving at that turn, I assume. And then it has the attack, Eek. It had an attack. Sometimes they didn't have attacks as we get through it, but Eek with a whole lot of ease.
Yeah.
Which you could like screech at if you want, I think. But anyway, hopefully you didn't. And then for one colorless energy, and then it was shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 7 cards. So a good way to set up potentially, right? For one energy, see a fresh set of cards, and you might get knocked out. So you might be immune to damage. So it's certainly a potential card that you could play.
Yeah. Which is I don't know. I find it kind of um I don't know. I find it annoying that you like you always have to flip coins for your attack. That seems kind of toxic.
Yes.
Good. Like, it's weird because obviously 30 HP is very low. With power creep, 30 HP was more. I guess. I don't know. It seems that you pretty much be one shot by
Still-
anything anyway.
Yeah, some things are probably doing 10 or 20, but it wasn't too powerful. And I think there were ways to make the coin flips even tougher for your opponent to make them work, I think.
Maybe. So yeah, I think this is like kind of silly. It's like I get it, but it is kind of complicated.
Yeah.
During older eras of Pokemon, rulings were really messy. And I think this is kind of an example of that, where it's just overcomplicated. I think it makes sense that they cut baby Pokemon.
Yeah. So, I mean, but people still talk about it as baby Pokemon. So that's
Well,
what
they cut the baby stage.
Right. So that was Gen 2. Then the next was Gen 3 and 4. I got this information from Bulbapedia. So it says so Gen 3 and 4 baby Pokemon were strictly basic Pokemon. It wasn't a baby stage or whatever. And then they now had Poke Powers. This was the one. These had Poke Powers, which were new for this.
Yeah,
and then
and Poke Powers are like abilities, but they're like activated as opposed to Pokeballs, which we'll get to later, which are abilities that aren't activated. I imagine if you played then, it makes like it's pretty logical, for the most part. But
and I think they all had the same Poke Power from what I understand. But
yeah,
I think so. Because it's called Baby Evolution here on Cleffa, and it says once during your turn before you attack, you may put Clefairy from your hand onto this Cleffa, so you could evolve it. That's allowed you to evolve this way. This counts as evolving Cleffa, and then you remove all damage counters from Cleffa, and it went up to a whopping 50 HP. So you would evolve and remove damage. So,
and you do have a weakness now and a retreat cost. It looks like.
yes, a retreat cost of 1 now, this one was fighting weak, so added weakness and retreat cost up the HP to it, and then the attack then got
And
nerfed.
and also I don't know if you can evolve the I don't believe you can evolve the turn you played it.
I don't think so because it says it counts as evolving Cleffa, so therefore I assume regular evolution rules count, and you couldn't evolve
Yeah.
the turn you played. I suppose I didn't try to track down the rulings from back then, but that would make sense.
I was hoping they'd change the number of E's and Eek to make it reflective of
did
the
you
number of cards you
did,
draw.
did you
They
count
don't.
it out? Okay.
Yeah, the first one was they're both 7.
So okay, but before it was you shuffled and draw 7 with the original Cleffa. Now with this Cleffa, Eek for 1 energy colorless, again same
Just
cost.
Eek.
Yes, I'll let you handle that for us then. Then you shuffle your hand in your deck and then you draw 6. So they went from 7 to 6. So that is meaningful, right? And it's not immune to damage. So it's much worse, I would say, this Cleffa from the first Cleffa, right?
Yeah, this one's worse. Like 50 HP isn't very impressive.
No.
You're not like always getting one-shotted, but then like evolving to heal like it's not that impressive.
No,
It's worse. I think free retreat's really nice.
Free retreat's nice.
And the like a passive ability thing with Baby Pokemon was super good.
Right. I mean, I'd rather give up the 20 HP and have no effects on a coin flip for attacks, right? That's much better, I think. And obviously, you want 1 extra card, too, if you want to use the attack. So they nerfed it. I think it was probably too powerful. So they pulled it down here. This is Gen 3 and 4 in the game.
Yeah.
So.
And then the end of Gen 4 during the Heart Gold Soul Silver era was the next ones. And this, it goes back down to 30 HP.
Yes.
So, yeah, this you'll notice the HPs are kind of weird. But then it's still colorless. So the first 3 are all colorless. Actually, no, I don't think they were all colorless. I believe it has to do with Fairy type being introduced for Cleffa, and then Fairy type got cut again,
So
but
they
was still in the
changed
video game.
Right.
So now, yeah. Anyway, we'll get to
But
that.
but the first 3 were all colorless, and it's back to no weakness, no resistance, and no retreat cost also. Go ahead.
And then it had a pokey body, meaning it's like a passive ability. As long as Cleffa is asleep, prevent all effects done to Cleffa by attack. So this is kind of like the original one. And you'll see in a second how it's very similar. They still can attack. For example, they can use their own draw attacks. But now it has a free attack with Eek, which is the same thing, shuffle draw 6, except then you're put to sleep, which then gives
Right.
you immunity, assuming you stay asleep. And so this is the first time it's been free, which is nice, and it also like it's still has that immunity and free retreat.
Yes.
So
So if you-
arguably, it's the best iteration. From in my opinion, like
I think so.
I think
you're-
the first one was the best, but it had to do with, like the meta it was in. But like just base level, I think this one is the strongest
Well,
generally.
I mean, you go to sleep. So you're not flipping to see if you get damaged or not, but you're flipping essentially the same thing. You flip between
Yeah.
turns to see if you wake up. So that's essentially
Your
the same
opponent
thing.
knows, but I think that's less toxic.
Right, your opponent knows, so they can plan their turn out, which I think is better. It allows your opponent to utilize their skill better, which I think is good. You have free retreat, so if you're asleep on your turn, you can switch out easily because you can retreat when you're asleep.
Wait, what?
You can retreat when you're asleep, right?
No, you can retreat when you're confused.
You can't retreat when you're asleep.
No,
correct?
unless they
Okay.
changed that. But
Okay,
yeah,
so
sleep is,
I'm sorry. So I'm glad you got caught
sleep's
me
the
on
same as
that.
paralysis, where you can't attack or retreat, except you flip instead of it being like gone.
Mhm. So you're attacking for free. You get 1 less card, but attack for free. So Cleffa's probably better this version because you can start to set up your next other Pokemon with energy. I think I like that with it. Now the one thing though, if you're asleep, you prevent damage, so you are vulnerable to special conditions.
Yeah, you're vulnerable to special conditions,
It-
effects of attacks.
Right.
And your opponent can still attack. They can still set up. So if you have a Cleffa in the active, you can theoretically the base set Cleffa, the first Cleffa,
Yeah.
you can theoretically stop your opponent from attacking, which would be annoying to them, obviously. Or so I'm setting up by attacking.
Right. But the fact that, like you said, your opponent knows when the turn starts what's going to what the status is, I think is good. It's good for the game. It's still a
Yeah.
strong card, and still, if this card was in format now, you'd consider playing it, right?
Uh-huh. I guess. I mean, like Lost Zones, that would be good. But
No, but it's getting new cards, just kind of turn 1, do this to set up. Not terrible.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Uh,
And then should I say the next one? You want to
I'll
say?
jump. So for it, so then we go to Sun and Moon era. So I don't know what
Yeah, this is
generation
much
that
later. This
is.
is Gen 7. So jumped from 4 to 7.
Yeah, so a bunch. So they got rid of them from the game, and they changed a bunch. So now they can't evolve anymore.
Yeah, well, the end of Gen 4 couldn't evolve either, right?
Oh, you're right. You're right. This Heart Gold Soul Silver couldn't evolve either. So you're correct. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. So it couldn't evolve, and that stayed that way when that changed. And then there's a coin flip ability on the
Yeah.
cards
Oh,
now.
and so now it's up to 60 HP, which is
So
crazy.
it's beefy, right?
Um,
So beefy on Cleffa.
beefy.
It's now,
So
but
fairy.
none of the baby Pokemon could attack at this point. They were all coin flip things. And this one, which you mentioned, the Munchlax before, the Control Munchlax, right, was from this generation, right? That you played some.
Yeah, that one was the only one that saw play. Oh, nah, there was like a Tyrogue, which was kind of all right. This is when like we played some. The Mudstack was
Right.
actually very good. Like if you're playing Control now, you'll very much miss it.
Yeah.
So
And what did that do again? Because we won't.
on a coin flip, you recovered a card, and then your turn ended.
Okay, so Cleffa is a fairy Pokemon going up to 60 HP, and it can evolve. And then this one had the ability Excitable Draw. So once during your turn, before you attack, you may flip a coin. If heads, shuffle your hand into your deck and then draw 6 cards. If you use this ability, your turn ends. So whether you get heads or tails, your turn ends either way. You might not get to shuffle and draw the cards again. So it's
It's pretty
similar.
much the same thing, except it can be used from the bench. Well, it's on a coin flip now as well.
Right. So you could have
So
something else.
it's much weaker because it's on a coin flip.
Right. It's not guaranteed, but it's not. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'd rather probably just use, and you don't get to attack anyway. So it's not like it was bad to use your attack when you couldn't. This doesn't let you attack anyway. It's worse unless you have something in the active, some hard walling Pokemon that's tough to deal with. You really don't want to do this, but it's no energy. It is what it is, right? So it's got
Yeah,
an
free retreat
ability.
again, which is nice.
Yes. For
This one didn't see any play, as far as I know. I think I don't know about the second one if that saw any play or the second one we're looking at,
Mhm.
but I know the first, the third saw play, but then this one didn't.
Yeah, and so yeah, so free retreat, no weakness or resistance again. So with this Cleffa.
Yeah. And then the last one is the new one from what's from Ruler of the Black Flame, which is the same as Obsidian Flames for us, essentially, coming out soon in Obsidian Flames in
Right. Well,
what
so
did we
it's
say it was
Scarlet and Violet. So that so it skipped
Cleffa?
what?
Oh yeah, yeah. We skipped Gen 8.
Right. So Sword
So
and
it's
Shield
Gen
did
9.
not have baby Pokemon at all printed.
Yeah. But then this one has its attack here now, so it is back down to 30.
Yep.
A bit of a rough ride for Cleffa, going up and
Ye-
down from like 30 HP.
Yeah,
Um,
and we got Sableye format, so that's really bad. But
yeah,
keep going.
we got lots of things. Like any spread, like you just die.
Yes.
But anyway, so free retreat, it does have a weakness now though to metal.
Hmm.
But it's a free attack now, which is nice. Which is shuffle or draw until you have 7 cards in your hand. So I'd say this is worse. But it's not awful by any means. I think it will see some play. I don't think it'll see a ton. And there's also a Bonsly, which is okay. It's like, so the Bonsly it does 10 damage and confusion for free, and it's also
Hmm.
fighting. I think that could be useful in a few decks.
Okay. And
I
that
mean, mostly
one's
free retreats. We don't really have any good pivots right now.
yeah.
Cyclizar is okay. Cyclizar is actually all right.
Right. I mean, a
Yeah.
30 HP pivot though is awful rough. So I don't think you're going to put this in decks because you have to have a pivot. Like I was playing Entei today, I need a pivot in Entei, right? I don't think I'm going to put in a 30 HP Pokemon in Entei
Yeah. You play
anything
Cast
else.
one, right? There's a
That
Fire
would be
Castle.
better, yeah.
This one's actually okay. Fire Castle might make sense there.
Yeah. So the pivot ability is, I don't think it's very important that it's a pivot. I guess
No, I
assuming.
think that's important. I think that's important. I think that's an important aspect of the card.
Well, it makes it more
Um,
viable. It does. You could put in a deck for that, planning on using it turn one, right? And then if it gets knocked out, which is fine, it gives up one prize, and if not, then you just you can send it up each turn to the active, so you have a pivot, so you see what you're doing. So I can see it in a deck. Pretend maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah. So
If the
I think this
translation of the attack's right, it's not called eek anymore. They say that it's
no.
grasping
Well, it's
draw.
different. This is drawn till as opposed to shuffle in.
I know, but that's very disappointing. It's not eek.
Well, the
Yeah,
other one's not either.
I
The ability
know.
was
But the other
excitable
was an
draw.
ability. Now they're back with attack. I wish they had come
That was
back
sort
with
of
eek.
with E. It could have been excitable draw.
Yeah, and I honestly wish they had done the attack where you shuffle in and draw cards. I think that would have been fun for the history. And if it's 6 or if they got to
Yeah.
do 5 because they think that's the
Well,
right
there have
level
been other
now,
Clefas
I don't
as well.
care.
There have been other Clefas that don't do the same thing.
Yeah, which then aren't considered to be baby Pokemon, right?
No, there are like actual Clefas that just have like different attacks and stuff.
So yeah, so for some reason, so these Pokemon, because of their attack or ability, what it does, are considered
Well,
babies.
no, because of like their
the
I don't know.
artwork,
No, because of their like free retreats generally common.
but they don't have
Um,
that though.
Some say baby on them, but
But
some
most of them don't though.
Yeah, don't worry, don't question
See,
it.
that's
It's
why what
just-
makes a baby and what doesn't make a baby. Because we even like looked at Bulbapedia and some of the things they said were babies. You're like, well, no, that's not really a baby. So there seems to be
well, in
this-
the TCG they're not really babies. Like Toxel like isn't a baby in the
Yeah,
TCG.
even though it's a baby in the video game at that time, and they printed the card based on that, but somehow it's not really a baby in the TCG, I guess. Right?
Yeah, don't question it too much. It's like a weird thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of it's for people that like older formats and like to think back of the good old days, right? That's a lot of
Yeah.
why this card comes out for. I don't know. Are you planning on playing this card?
I think I'll play the Bonsly. I like the Bonsly. I think Clef is also good.
Okay.
I'll play them. I mean, I will. I'll play them some.
Try
I'm
'em out.
assuming.
Yeah.
But I probably won't play them too much. We'll see though.
Yeah.
So
So
they're cool cards. There's a lot of there's a lot of Sableye, which isn't a good sign for them.
no. And obviously, I think these are the first two. I assume with Scarlet and Violet means that there'll be more coming out in Scarlet and Violet in future expansions.
Yeah.
So, and something else could become useful too. So,
Yeah, we
obviously
got like a
keep that in
baby
mind.
Zacian V that has like 200 HP and does like 200 damage for free, and then we're in business.
Then you're going. Yeah. So, all right. Is that covered baby Pokemon? We've already talked more than we actually know about baby Pokemon, right? 'Cause our
Yeah,
knowledge
yeah,
there
we
is
didn't really know
not
much
great.
about it.
So it's an interesting fact, and you forced me to look up some stuff on Bulbapedia, which is another good resource, right?
Yeah, Bulbapedia. Like I have, Bulbapedia is like an okay resource. It has a lot of info. I mean, it's a good resource. I use it for videos sometimes. It is not complete by any means.
No, I mean it depends. For certain things, Bulbapedia is useful, so it's just a resource you need to know about and utilize at the right times.
Yeah,
That's
I think if you're a TCG player, you probably don't need it.
you don't have to, right? It's written first and foremost for the video game, and then the TCG is added in also, right? It's all things Pokemon, but video game first. And trying
Which
to
is the main thing.
and trying to find the baby Pokemon in the TCG on Bulbapedia was not easy, nor finding it elsewhere, as to what is a baby, and just trying to find the right cards was a little weird, but.
Yeah, in the things listed in Bulbapedia, it's the fourth one down. The first, it's anime, games, manga, TCG.
Is there anything after TCG?
Oh yeah, no, there's a lot of things. There's
Okay.
world, species, characters, moves, music, meta, items, events, fandom, and people.
And people. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we're ahead of that. So okay.
Yeah.
That's and in Bulbapedia, some of the cards are in English, some are in Japanese. I don't. There doesn't seem to be rhyme or reason. Whatever someone put in it at the time they decided to do it is what it is. It appears. So
Yeah, you can look up into about the trading figure game. So that's fun.
yeah, you like to talk about that, but we don't. I think
It's
we don't need to discuss that today. I think, right?
no. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
We can if you like the idea of discussing the trading figure game, we can do a segment on that. So
Yeah. But
I
I think
think-
that's all to say.
yeah, I think we've covered plenty about baby Pokemon, and you know what the picks are for Worlds now. So hopefully you enjoyed the podcast. If you have any comments, let us know in our YouTube channels. That's the best place there. You can if you're watching us on YouTube, that's great too. You can find us on should be any of your podcast players. So look for us there. And again, I don't know. What else do you have to add?
I think that's it. Oh, check us out. Like Spotify is like the best place behind YouTube.
Yeah, but yes, yeah, and you can, I guess, leave comments in Spotify that maybe we could find. Although, if you left a comment and you're wondering why I don't respond, it's because
Yeah, we've not
we don't
seen
know
them
where
so
they
far.
are. So, if you're leaving comments somewhere, leave something on the YouTube, and we might actually be able to then tell us to look someplace else. That would be useful to know too.
Yeah. But we hope you enjoy it, and we're excited to see you next time.
Take care.